the war in Afghanistan. We should use that absolutely everywhere, and all trade unions. They also oppose the war in Libya, because they are reflecting not just trade union opinion, majority opinion. We've got to get this to the politicians. These are the people who really, you know, if we're talking about people who should be shot, well, you know, I don't want to incite anybody while we're on film, but, you know, you do feel, really, these are the people who are not listening, and you have to be forced to listen. I think one of the things you have to do, can't even remember who your MP is in York, maybe you can't remember either.
Yes,
Hugh Bailey, that's right, it's a pension meeting. Yeah, but...
And Julian Sturdy, who was invited tonight.
Yeah, but I mean, I think you should think about lobbying these MPs and say, these are the facts about Afghanistan, what are we doing about it? Why are they still there? You know, we've got a campaign around Palestine. Worse is going on in Afghanistan than is going on in Palestine. That's the fact. And nobody knows it in this country. Very few people. Sorry.
No, thank you very much. Can I say, I've asked for short questions from the floor, and as time is going on...
Can we be short as well, yeah?
Sorry.
Now, having said that, David wants just to come back on a point.
Just one very quick comment, I promise it's just one sentence. Whether we should have gone in or not, whether it was a good idea to do it the way we did it, is largely irrelevant at this stage. We're in. And if you are going to pull out, even if you're going to set a date 2 years in advance, be prepared, have the moral courage to say that, and to understand that when you pull out, there will be a bloodbath.
Yes.
Whether that bloodbath would have happened without us or not is again irrelevant. And a lot of that bloodbath will fall onto the people who've been helping us as interpreters, or anybody who's suspected of anything to do with us. So by all means play realpolitik and say let's get the troops out. But mistake or not to go in, we're in. And if you just pull out like that, do know that there will be a bloodbath which we shall have precipitated. Okay?
Thank you. Now, Mark, you had your hand up before. We've got Morris and I'm afraid I don't know your name. Thank you. So, Mark first, then Morris.
I just heard the other day, I can't remember the source of it as usual, but I understand they did a survey in America amongst people that regarded themselves as Christians, and 55% of them, a sample of 10 to 20,000 or something, said that they could excuse, that torture could be excused. Now, I wondered if David was worried that particularly the activities of special forces, and maybe even more so the Afghan forces that the American special forces are training, are they going to rebound on our society? Are they going to brutalise us? Never mind what they do to the Afghans. Is our culture going to be brutalised by a feeling that we're no longer on the side of the underdog, as we were able to believe we were to a certain extent before?
Thank you. Morris?
Yes. You mentioned at the beginning about what was the war against. The war we are against, actually, is the war against terror. That nebulous thing that has...
a whole separate debate, this one.
Completely pointless. You can't have a war against terror. But what I'd like to ask is, why are we there? You know, we are, every Saturday, we man a store, we ask people, we see soldiers, right. Last Saturday, I had somebody who was very clearly a staff officer from Helmand.
Right, yeah.
And he said to me, well, we must be there until the job's done.
Yeah.
You know, meaningless. It's meaningless. I have people saying, oh, well, we're there until they can look after their own security. And you say, why on earth do we believe that Afghans who, being not only poor, but in fact had very little knowledge of the outside world, why they should kill each other to prevent terrorism on the streets of London? It's completely incomprehensible. Why should one Afghan kill another Afghan to stop people happening in a country that he couldn't find on the map, and so on? Some people say it's to defend women. But nothing we can do there, nothing the military can do, can stop the cultural effect that has been there for centuries and is not going to change easily. I've had the statements that, you know, because the Afghans want us.
I think this is a speech.
Sorry, it's like getting from sun, but I mean the whole point is, what is the reason why we are there? I mean, it's not to train, if it's to prevent terrorism here, it's not, is it meaningful? Lisa.
Thank you, Morris.
I was really interested that I think both of you have drawn out quite kind of negative comments, I guess, about the aid agencies and also NGOs. And I guess I was wondering if you could draw out maybe some tangible examples from your experience, but also if you had the ability to comment on the role that the NGOs are currently playing, or aid agencies for that matter, in Afghanistan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's 3. So I'll ask again.
You want to go first, Stan?
Okay, I'll just be very brief. Let me just start
I'll be brief as well.
the other way round with your question about the aid agencies. I mean, look, obviously I think a lot of aid agencies and a lot of people who work for aid agencies do some very good work. And for example, with Stop the War, we work closely with War on Want. There's a little NGO called Emergency, which is an Italian one that does, helps medically in Afghanistan. And they're coming on our demonstration next week, our occupation in Trafalgar Square, on the anniversary of the war. So, obviously I recognise the work that they do, and most of the people that I know who work with are very anti-war, very motivated by trying to help people and so on. But I think the actual role of the NGOs is somewhat different. And firstly, there is a lot of evidence of corruption, of quite a lot of wealth of NGOs in Kabul and of, that kind of thing. But more importantly, even if there isn't that, they are used very often as an arm of the, they're the kind of civil wing of the military occupation, and they're seen like that. So I think that's quite problematic and quite difficult, and that was true in Iraq. I mean, partly this is something that they may not be able to stop, but in some cases it's very clearly that they are used by governments to operate in that sort of way. So on that, the point that was made, I agree about, this is, Stop the War is against the war on terror, that's what it says. Now I know the name has been changed, but essentially we've spotted it's still the same war, so we're going to keep continuing to fight against, this war and the ramifications, and obviously if there is an attack on Iran, which kind of blows hot and cold at different times. Just the,
the Israelis made that the worry.
Well, yes, and then everyone will get drawn in as the Israelis do. And the question of torture that was raised, which I think was mainly aimed at David, but I mean, I think it's one of the shocking things, really, that once you get a war like this, it does change people's ideas about a whole number of things. And for example, Guantanamo, Bagram, all these sorts of things, I think are a thing that people feel very strongly about in the anti-war movement. I think it's people, and the whole question of torture, this sort of notion that torture is okay because, if you could get some evidence that would stop someone being blown up in Leeds or something, wouldn't you torture the person to get that out of it? And it really is it's a politically degrading and morally degrading kind of way of operating, I think, and it is one of the more unpleasant, well, perhaps from our point of view, I mean, probably for the people in Iraq and Afghanistan, it's a fairly minor thing, but in the West, I think it's one of the unpleasant side effects of the war, the rendition of, I mean, look at Libya, they're rendering people who were opponents of Gaddafi, and then the next year, after they've been selling him arms as well, then they're bombing Gaddafi, and then, the whole thing is completely mad, really. But anyway, sorry, that's just my thoughts on it.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
David.
Well, I'll take that one then first. Torture, we could have an hour's debate on what is actually torture and what isn't torture and what's duress and what's stress and all the rest of it. Torture doesn't work.
Exactly.
Now, special forces you mentioned. Special forces know that better than anybody because, of course, part of their training is to go through the most brutal treatment that the opposition could possibly use against them. And I can tell you, without giving anything away, that it's more or less accepted that under the most brutal torture you will hold out for perhaps half an hour to an hour. But anything you say after that is worthless.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely worthless.
Yes, yes, yes.
If you had anything of value, it would have been changed immediately by your superiors, so that anything you gave away was no longer relevant. And also, once you've hurt a person to that degree, they will tell you anything to make it stop. So that's torture. It's pointless. It doesn't work, and you can't rely on anything you've learned from it. The problem is that when we went into Iraq and Afghanistan, it wasn't professionals who were questioning. It was idiots who'd never been trained to question people. And there's all sorts of stupid reasons why that happened. War on terror. Well, apart from being a grammatic nonsense, which the Americans wouldn't understand, you cannot fight mist. We used to have a definition that counter-terrorism was actually like playing mental chess three-dimensionally over the telephone, and then finding out when you'd made your killer move that the other guy was playing drafts. So in other words, you can't have a war on it. It's a trivialization to do that. Job done, yeah, all right. He probably went to Sandhurst, and then he went to Staff College after that. The Germans, who don't have a sense of humour, when I did their Staff College, have a wonderful joke. In the Franco-Prussian War, a German general and his aide decide to get modern, so they go up in a balloon to wreck the French positions. But the wind changes, and the clouds come down, and when the clouds clear, they can't have a clue where they are. But they see as they drift towards a mountain, that sitting on the mountain is a solitary German officer on a horse. So as they drift over the top, the general shouts down, "You there, where are we?" And the Ulan officer looks up, "You are in a balloon, General." And the clouds close again. And when the aide is saying, "I recognise that officer, I'll have him punished," the general says, No. He was obviously a member of the General Staff. Because his answer was 100% accurate and of no practical value whatever. Women in Afghanistan. One of the British Army's frequent defeats in Afghanistan, there was the Battle of Maiwand. Look it up if you want to. One of the reasons why the Afghans did so well, and you'll never read this, I've never read it in any of the British books on the Afghanistan wars, but the Afghans tell you about it as soon as you go there, was a young woman called Malalai, who, when the Afghans were breaking, grabbed a flag from a falling standard bearer, called the men cowards, and said, "Drive the infidels out." And the Afghans recognised their contribution. So it's too simplistic to say they're anti-women. Understand their culture. NGOs. There was nothing, when counterinsurgency was in its heyday, there weren't any NGOs.